They're located.
They're in
All right, I think
Koreatown.
we are good.
Oh, real? Okay, I know that area. Off of Cedar.
They'll come and clean out the place and take stuff.
So does volunteers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
35. Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
There we go. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good
It'll be
one.
one of those days. All right. So today is the fourth Sunday of Easter, Mother's Day. It's also a Good Shepherd Sunday. So we got a lot of stuff going on. Good Shepherd Sunday. I think so. I don't exactly know the exact historical background of like when it became a thing or when people started to really do it. I think the traditional readings for I think it was the third Sunday of Easter, were like Good Shepherd readings. I think that's just kind of what they were for a long time. Then I think Vatican II came along and pushed them off to the fourth Sunday of Easter.
This was started by the Catholic Church.
I guess. I mean, the readings, so like the readings, the lectionary, the historic lectionary. I mean, it goes back. So different churches might have different lectionaries, but so if we're talking about kind of this historic lectionary, yeah, I mean we're talking about the Catholic Church and how they kind of worded it. When you look at Luther and his preaching, the readings that he preached on the Sunday, Catholic lectionary. So.
Well, he was Catholic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was that.
That's what I knew.
So the fun thing is just I think Vatican II pushed it back to the fourth Sunday of Easter, which means for us it's on the fourth Sunday of Easter, which I just think is funny that for as much as Lutherans are like we are the ones who oppose the Catholic Church, like yeah we follow like we'll follow their lead in a lot of stuff, be like it's all right. Which I mean, and stuff like that is like third Sunday, fourth Sunday, and I think the point there was to, I think if I remember, I was reading about this, and I think the reason why they pushed it further out, which on the grand scheme of things doesn't make much sense, but or difference, was that they wanted to kind of have more of the Easter focus to be on the sending of or Jesus' appearance to the disciples leading up to Pentecost and ascending. So I mean, if the third Sunday was already Good Shepherd Sunday, pushing it back a week I don't know how that takes away anything, or I don't know.
Same day, the Ascension and Pentecost?
Nope. Nope. I'm sorry. It's not the Sunday before, or it's not the Thursday before Pentecost. It's a week and a half before Pentecost. So yeah, Ascension, and then there's a week and a few days.
No, I meant biblically. In the Bible, wasn't that on the same day?
No, because they go out. I mean, in the text it happens real quick.
Yeah.
But he ascends, then they go back, praising God and all that and worshiping. But then it cuts to, and then on the Feast of Pentecost, they were all together. So in the text, it happens quick, but there's a little bit of time there.
There's timeline.
Yeah. Well, you can talk about the new pope if you wanted to.
Yeah, so far I like him.
That's Pope's goal.
It's Pope's good.
Hello.
Hey, little man.
Hey, you're helping the situation. No, you're not.
Go in here.
No, you're not. Sit there. That was a big help.
Well, shoot, we've had in recent memory, we've had this is our third pope in the last 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
Because we had, it was Paul, and then Benedict, Francis, and now Leo? Is that?
Leo.
Leo, okay. So this is our,
Francis was in power for 12 years, right?
something like that.
13, yeah.
Yeah, Benedict wasn't in there that long, and he retired.
Yeah.
He stepped down, which was weird. So yeah, we've had a lot of pope turnover recently. Which I mean, honestly, for us, it doesn't make any difference to us. Somebody sent me a message on Facebook and like, oh hey, so they're getting a new pope. So what do you think? I'm like, I don't care. I mean, unless they take down the Council of Trent, it doesn't, I mean, I think my comment was, they still say I'm going to hell because I'm Lutheran, so it doesn't matter.
Who
Because
says that before?
oh no, the Catholic Church, because the Council of Trent, which was like the big anti-Reformation kind of, or response to the Reformation council. They basically they specifically anathematize anybody who believes, like what we say, justification by faith alone. So basically, they just, I mean, you can go in there and look at it. It actually says, let those be anathema who, I forget the exact wording, but
Wow.
When I was going through confirmation, our minister told us, if you marry a Catholic girl or vice versa, you're going to hell. That's the way it was back then.
he might have meant more in a practical sense, like your life is going to be rough. No.
Well, I could be married to Deborah.
It's like you're just bringing conflict in. I mean, husband and wife, there's enough, but then Catholic and the Lutheran together, oh, forget about it.
And those that make those statements are gonna be kind of closer to hell.
Well, it's just,
Yeah.
they were that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I for us, honestly, whenever there's a new pope, because now we've been through it. This is the third time. It's just annoying. Honestly, more than anything, because there's a brief surge of like interest in everything Roman Catholic, and all of a sudden everybody's like, ooh, because they kind of think. Usually, it's whatever the last pope was like. All the people who didn't like him come out and be like, oh, maybe this one will be different. And so everyone gets all excited, and then they realize that nothing much changes in the Catholic Church. So and then it dies out pretty quick. But so that initial burst of interest is like, whatever. So we just keep on keeping on.
Would you close that door?
Oh,
I
I got it.
can't hear.
So, unless you wanted to talk about that, which.
How that subject's long gone. Couple weeks.
Not even a week.
Oh, yeah, he's not.
See how much I know about it.
I don't know enough about him to know what he's gonna do.
Well, the thing is that you can't really do much. I mean, the idea that he speaks for Christ and all that is like, okay, fine. That's what they say. But the thing with Francis was it was always so scandalous because he said so many very unorthodox sounding things. Well, okay. Well, first of all, you had to parse it through the translation, and there was always like you always had the Catholic news apparatus kind of saying, well, you have to understand him in context, and the translation there, and it's like, oh, fine, whatever. But then it was also, there's a difference between what he says, like just as himself versus what he's saying like from the chair. And like what he says from the chair is like that's a big deal because he's speaking with the authority of Christ behind it. But he said a lot of things, like I think most of the stuff he said that was controversial was him talking. I mean, it was just him expressing himself, which, can be fallible. He's not speaking as the vicar of Christ in those instances. So nothing that he said officially really changed anything. I mean, the Catholic Church didn't change their catechism. They didn't change none of their doctrine changed. So it was like everyone who got all worked up over Francis saying anything was like, okay. I mean, yeah. So this guy, who knows? we'll see. I don't think much is gonna be different. He might be a little bit more careful about what he says than Francis did, but I mean, he's from Chicago, right?
Yes.
From Chicago, right? It sounds like he spent a lot of his ministry outside the US.
Hey, that stuff sticks on you. I mean, I've been away from California for a long time, but it's
Yeah.
still,
It's in you.
yeah, you can't shake it. So anyway, so today, the readings, so the main reading, obviously the gospel. And so we have, so every year we have Good Shepherd Sunday. We have, so each cycle in our lectionary reading, so the 3-year lectionary, we have a different Good Shepherd gospel reading every year. So like this isn't the text where he says, I am the Good Shepherd. But this is one where he says, you know, the works that I do in my Father's name bear witness about me, but you do not believe because you are not part of my flock. My sheep hear my voice. I know them. They follow me. I give them eternal life, and they will never perish. No one will snatch them out of my hand. My Father who has given them to me is greater than all, and no one is able to snatch them out of my Father's hand. I and the Father are one. So that's the main text. Got a lot of good stuff in there. The second reading is connected in so much as it's not so much the shepherd motif as the lamb motif. So, you know, they washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the lamb. They're standing before the throne, before the lamb. So salvation belongs to our God who sits on the throne and to the lamb. So you've got the shepherd lamb thing going on there. The first reading, we're not looking at this one.
It's awfully long.
Well, yeah. Well, there's that. But I'm eventually going to cover that on Wednesday night since we're going through Acts. But honestly, I mean, it's a fine reading. Don't get me wrong. But I think the only reason why they paired this is, verse 29. I know that after my departure, fierce wolves will come in among you, not sparing the flock. Like, literally, I think that's the only connection we have to Good Shepherd Sunday. And, of course, that's so, you know, wolves are going to come in and threaten the flock. Hey, but you've got the Good Shepherd. Listen to his voice. And especially because he says, like, from among your own selves will rise men speaking twisted things to draw disciples away. So the wolves come in speaking twisted things. What do? How do you fight against that? You listen to his voice. My sheep hear my voice. They listen to me. So I think that's the only hook in the Acts reading, which it's a fine reading. It's a bad one for today, I think. Honestly, it's just, well, I mean, it's not bad. It's just weak.
It just doesn't go with.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's one thing, maybe 2 verses that connect out of 20. So, I think it could have been better. But no one asked me.
Where he says, therefore I testify to you this day that I am innocent of the blood of all of you. Why would he think that he might be guilty of the blood of them?
It depends. Well, you know what? I didn't even look that far into this. Where are we at? Where are we looking at?
Right in the dead center of that.
This.
About 24.
Okay, here we go. I do not count my life of any value nor is precious to myself, if only I may finish my course in the ministry that I received from the Lord Jesus, testify the gospel of grace of God. Now behold, I know that none of you among whom I have gone about proclaiming the kingdom will see my face again. Therefore I testify to you this day, I am innocent of the blood of all of you. You know, without digging into some of that background there, I don't want to jump to anything that I might be, because there's a couple places where I would go with it, but I don't want to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I can't think of right exactly the verse, but there are ideas that if you've been given a message from God to warn people of something, you have to deliver it. If you don't deliver it, you are guilty for not having given them the message. Trying to think of where that is. Kind of the watchman.
Yeah, I'll have a better answer when we get to it on Wednesday night. Too early to think. Yeah, because where my brain goes with it doesn't click in with that. So I will have a better answer for you. Keep that. In fact, I will circle this. There we go.
You'll probably have a lot of time to formulate this.
And then we'll get there and be
We
like,
might get
nah.
to it by December.
Oh gosh, probably. Maybe. We'll see. Oh gosh. So we're not going to touch the first reading. The Revelation reading, it's a great one. I mean, this is one of the really nice ones. He beholds a great multitude. He sees all the tribes, all the peoples, all the people of God. So, across every potential possible barrier of ethnicity, language, gender, whatever, geography. All the people of God are standing before the throne celebrating. And then he says, okay, who are these clothed in white robes? Where have they come from? And so these are the ones coming out of the Great Tribulation. I love that because many people who have very strange and odd theologies of Revelation and dispensationalism and all this stuff, Great Tribulation. Oh, well, that refers to a period of time where Jesus has either come back or he's almost back, or it's time of great suffering that we have to undergo before he can do this. So it's like very regimented and like this is a time that is going to happen and whatever. Meanwhile, we just understand the Great Tribulation.
I was gonna say it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah. It's just life. It's all it is. Which, I mean, it makes sense. So he sees like, oh, all these people who are, coming in and wearing white robes. Who are they? Where have they come from? It's like, life, where you are. And then the imagery is just awesome. They washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. That's just good stuff, So they come in with their dingy, dirty robes. There's the blood of the Lamb, the red blood, and they wash it and it comes out white. That's just...
Makes them clean, clear through.
Yep. That's just good stuff right
100%
there.
Pure.
What's that?
100% pure.
That's right. And then, of course, they're before the throne of God. They serve him day and night. He will shelter them with his presence. They shall hunger no more, thirst no more. The sun shall not strike them, nor any scorching heat. For the Lamb in the midst of the throne will be their shepherd. There's our little hook there. And he will guide them to springs of living water, and God will wipe away every tear from their eyes.
I think it's beautiful.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is like great for funerals. If you're thinking about your funeral and you want a good one, this will be one of the ones I suggest, unless you have something written down.
No, I think it's a good one before your funeral.
It's a great one for any time.
I would recognize it afterwards.
Well, yeah, you'll just be wearing the white robe. You won't. Yeah, I mean,
Is it talking?
this is us saying, "Is that Connie?" Wow,
I can't be
if she made it, I can. I'm sorry.
Is it talking about heaven or the new creation?
Yes.
Both.
Yeah. Honestly, I would say both. I mean, the vision he has is certainly kind of is heaven. The kind of that holding pattern. What like currently right now, It's the now and the not yet. So John is seeing this vision as like, this is what's happening now, because it's a hope for today. But I mean, really, it could apply just as easily to the new creation, because there's no more. Because he talks about like there's no more hunger, no more thirst. Now that's reality in heaven. I mean, while we wait, those in heaven, there is no more want, there is no more thirst, there is no more hunger. But even that's like a promise of that last day when it's like brought fully. So I think it's both. It just depends how you want to hit it. You want to comfort people with like, this is what you've got today, or this is what you have coming for you. It just depends how you want it to hit. Which I would say go both ways. Hit them from both directions. Just knock them out with the gospel. So yeah, the Revelation text is beautiful. John 10 is nice. My sheep hear my voice. I know them, and they follow me. So I don't know how much I would. So my sheep hear my voice, so we hear his voice. And you'd think, I mean, the natural thing would be like, we hear his voice, we know him, and we follow him. But he says, my sheep hear my voice, I know them, and they follow me. So I do kind of like how I think the natural progression that we would go is like, well, because we hear his voice, we know him. And we know him because we hear his voice. And he actually makes it like, well, I know them. I know you. And I think that actually fits more of our reality just because we're not always keyed in. Even when, oh, good Lord. When doing service, I'm speaking the words to you. And half the time I'm thinking, okay, what's coming next? What, I need to make sure, all right, I need to get ready for this. I mean, honestly, I just full disclosure.
But it comes from you to the Holy Ghost to us.
Yeah. But I'm not always, it's hard to experience a worship service when you're leading it. I mean, you can. I mean, I've been there, and it's wonderful. But, there's some days where, like today, I'm kind of dragging. And a lot of my energy is going to be focused on, okay, are you standing upright still? Okay, cool, good, all right. What's next? Wait, what? Oh, Jim's got that. Okay, cool, I can check out for a moment.
He's sandbagging the service here. Just in case
No.
anybody
Hey.
wonders.
No, by the sermon, the caffeine's kicked in. I'm like, all right, let's go. But it's hard.
Building up to it.
And
Well, and it also helps explain some of Jesus's ministry as well, because lots of people heard him. Lots of people were interested, a lot of people, but not everybody stuck around.
Right.
Just like talking with your kids, you know the right thing to do, you tell them the right thing to do, but they're not going to hear.
Yeah. It's similar to when he says, there will be many who come to me saying, Lord, Lord. And in that day I'll say, I don't know you. Because it's not about you, it's about him. It's about him knowing you, him washing you clean. And it's the ones who say like, oh, when did we ever see you hungry or hurting or lost? And how did we ever serve you? And he's like, you did it without even knowing it. And then all the people were like, dude, we did it all the time. And he's like, you don't know me though. I don't know you. So there's definitely that kind of, Jesus is the one bringing the kingdom, not us breaking into it. I give them eternal life. They will never perish. Now this one here, no one will snatch them out of my hand. No one is able to snatch them out of my Father's hand. So that right there this is where we get the fun law gospel kind of distinction here, because you've got Jesus here saying no one can snatch them out of my hand. So if Jesus has you, no one can, he will not let go, and no one can steal you from his hand. And then you have, take heed lest you fall. So, you can read that, no one will snatch them out of my hand. Oh, once saved, always saved. If I'm saved, then there's nothing I can do. It's like, Paul would say otherwise. Scripture would say otherwise. there's always the chance that we, and the way I describe it is like, God's got you, Jesus has got you, okay? No one, if Satan comes, he can't snatch you out. However, you can basically say, like, I don't want to be in your hand. And there you go. The comfort of those words, or these words are for those who are struggling. So this is somebody who is burdened by the law. I don't know if I haven't been good. I'm not a good Christian because I do this, that, and the other, and I trust God and all that, and I want to do what I'm supposed to do, but I keep screwing up, and I worry that I've done too much, and that God is going to forsake me because there's just too much sin. They need to hear this. No one will snatch you out of His hand. He's got you tight. He's got you. It's not about you. It's about Him. Or versus the person who is like, once saved, always saved. I can do whatever I want. I'm cool. God's good with this. It's no biggie. I mean, hey, we all know what it's like out there, and it's not that big of a deal. It's like, okay, take heed lest you fall. And you point to this and like, well, yeah, no one will snatch you out of his hand, but you are jumping right out. You are doing all the work there. So
He doesn't know you.
yeah, well, then that's the fear. That's why a lot of our prayers are, or you go through the Psalms. Remember me, O Lord, because the fear is you'll be forgotten. God will forget you. I know. He knows His own. We worry. He doesn't. So we got a lot of good stuff here. I'm not preaching on any of it, but it's all good stuff. I'm actually preaching on Psalm 23 today, so So if you like any of this stuff today, well, sorry.
Without going back into it, if you're writing down your little notes on the first one, Ezekiel 3 is where you get the idea of the watchman responsible for the blood of the wicked.
Oh, okay, Ezekiel 3. Got it.
When you're
it's that like responsible for the blood, but then he says, I am innocent of the blood of all you. It's like, but you are responsible. So that's why
He is responsible, but he told everybody. I mean, the whole point of this
Right,
is that he's
sure.
preached the whole counsel of God. I've told you
Yeah.
everything. Whatever God told me, I've told you. So I've not been hiding anything. I've not
okay.
hid anything. So I am not responsible before God that you're not listening. I mean, that's the whole point.
Right.
Because God tells them, as a watchman, He says, if I tell you to tell them and you don't tell them,
True.
that's not, that's a Jonah situation right there.
Jonah did it though.
Yeah. He got there eventually.
Yeah. He just wasn't very good at it.
But I'm sure that's what Paul had in mind.
Yeah, that could be.
If you get knocked off a donkey, go and give the message you've been told to give.
Sure. Okay, Ezekiel 3. Got it. Anything else jumping out at you in any of these texts or Pope talk, whatever?
One thing that I found interesting, I forget where I read it, was that a ruling that from a court that if a priest heard a confession of child abuse, now they have to report it to the authorities. And I was surprised that they were not
yeah. Well,
required to do that.
I think it's one of those things where, I mean,
Separation.
you're not required to report anything.
Yeah.
Like I'm not required to, but I believe by law, if it's found out that something involving like child abuse was confessed to me and I didn't report it, then I face legal consequences. I think is the way that works. It's kind of like, I could preach politics. I can tell you who to vote for in the pulpit. I mean, it's like, just because there's separated church and state doesn't mean I can't. Like, I wish I could tell you. Sure, I could tell you whatever I wanted to tell you. It just means that we'll lose our tax exempt status. So there's consequences for it. So yeah, there's like, it's child abuse, anything that I think endangers a child either in some way, shape, or form. It's like you're considered a mandated reporter. So like I said, it's like legally speaking, like I could still, like if I, that's the
We have
the
a lot of
dilemma.
that over at MSU,
Yeah,
I'm sure you do, yeah.
mandatory.
right.
Yeah.
I think it's from, and I've asked guys before, it's like, what exactly?
Doesn't it, don't you fall under the same realm as a counselor or psychologist?
Oh yeah.
They're required to tell somebody?
I mean, everything's in flux right now.
Yeah.
I mean, what used to be pretty solid lines, now people are starting to question whether they're good
And
lines.
it's one of those things where, I mean, it's kind of, well, I don't, it's fuzzy because also, well, how would you know? I mean, except that somebody would say, if the person who confessed, like to me, if they told the authorities, well, I confessed it to my pastor, then they come to me and be like, did they confess that to you? I'd be like, I can't, if I said, well, I can't divulge it, I mean, I don't know what they do with that because it's, hearsay, he said, she said kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Praise God, I've never been in this situation.
Yeah.
In general, the counsel that I've always heard is like, and I almost always involves children. And if I feel like there's a credible threat to their own well-being, health, life, whatever, or somebody else, like I've got a feeling after they confess that they're going to go do harm, then I should do whatever it is in my power to keep them like in my office and try to get them to reach out for help or authorities, whatever, to convince them to do the right thing. But yeah, I think in Michigan, clergy are considered mandated reporters, I think.
I have no idea.
But again, it's that hard thing because it's like, well, I mean, to fulfill my vows, I can't divulge anything that's confessed to me. If something happened to a child, and if something happened to a child and I didn't report it, I mean, it's like, okay, I keep my vow. I can tell you right now, that's gonna haunt me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's probably what I think would be best would be in the call process, where like when a pastor comes to a congregation, like the pastor in the congregation set some rules about like, okay, look, I will keep everything, completely confidential, except if.
They should know that up front, nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, now is that the most kosher way to go about it in terms of the vow of confidentiality? I mean, you're trying to carve out a loophole, and that's not always a good thing. But like I said, I don't know. That would be very hard to live with if. Yeah, thank God I've never had to deal with that. But I worry about it because that would be horrifying. And not just having to live with it, but I mean, and if horrible if like a child dies because of this, but I mean if they suffer ongoing abuse, and then it's like, you knew, you knew and did nothing, like you knew and offered forgiveness. I mean, it'd be like, oh God. And it's like I can't tell you what I offered because it's confidential. But yeah, there's a fun way to end that one.
Yeah. Way to
Jeez.
go, Lee. Nice job. Got a hand on
Happy
his
Mother's Day.
caffeinated
Oh.
days.
Now I'm depressed. What brought that one up? I'm just kidding. I mean,
It's something that I read, and I was kind of surprised that they weren't mandatory reporters, and it
Oh.
made me wonder, because I've I thought about how would I handle that if somebody starts telling me about an abusive relationship. Would I stop them and say, you know, before you tell me this, I'm gonna have to report this, or just let them go, tell you, and
Well, and
turn around and go behind their back, you know, and report it. It's a tough one.
And that might be probably the best workaround to that. Well, at least in my case, would be, and honestly, I actually, you know what, I have told people this, because when people have come to me and I know a little bit about the situation, I wonder like, ooh, there might be abuse, like it feels like there might be. I'll tell them right up front, be like, look, if what you're going to tell me is X, Y, and Z, then I'm going to report that. Like I have to, because that was my understanding, was I had to. So whether that's the case or not, I think that's probably the best place to go with that.
I would think so.
I mean, it covers my. I don't want to talk about confession and absolution as like I'm just covering my butt here, because that's not the case. But I mean, honestly, I'm just being perfectly honest. Like, hey, I'm here for your spiritual care, and I want to handle your spiritual care, but I'm also concerned for your, physical, legal,
Yeah,
etc.
like you said earlier, and the other thought is, can you direct them to a resource
Oh, sure.
more knowledgeable than yourself?
Oh, I do that all the time. No, like especially with like couples counseling. People want to come in like, oh, well, we'll talk to pastor. He'll fix our marriage, and I'm like, ah. Like, I'm doing the best I can with mine. I don't know anything about yours. But I'll usually tell people right up front there, like, look, I'm not a trained and licensed therapist, counselor. This is not, I took one class in seminary about this. So I will be very upfront about that. And there's been times where I've gotten, somebody's come in and I had no idea, and I heard them out, like, here's what I can do. I can pray with you. You want to confess this some sin here, I can forgive it, absolutely. And here's a nice little business card of somebody who can deal with that, because way above my expertise. They hit that pretty hard at seminary to be like, you are not trained in this unless you're coming here with a bachelor's degree or a master's already in it.
Go there.
Don't do it. Don't do it. So yeah, I know my limits.
I can see that.
Cool. Well, that was fun. That took a couple turns. Happy Mother's Day. All right. There we go.
We know you're saving that for the sermon.
We'll see.